Welcome to this systematic review on learning analytics in gamified environments. In this presentation, we explore how data-driven insights in game design combine to improve engagement and outcomes, and outline key trends, challenges, and recommendations for researchers and educators. The cover image hints at classroom applications and the practical focus that follows. The core goals are as follows: personalizing learning with analytics, boosting engagement through gamification, addressing scalability and ethics, and identifying research gaps. Think of these as the four angles guiding our review, each pointing toward actionable strategies for designers and scholars who want to merge game mechanics with rigorous data practices. To start, we introduce the two fields at play. Gamification uses game design to motivate learners, while learning analytics captures and interprets student data to inform teaching. Together, they promise personalized, adaptive learning, though early gamification focused on superficial rewards and recent work emphasizes deeper motivational psychology and alignment with learning goals. Here we clarify the research gaps and the study aim. Gamification alone doesn't guarantee learning. Integration with analytics lacks consensus. Long-term effects are underexplored, and cross-context comparisons are limited. Our review aims to consolidate evidence, highlight gaps, and offer practical insights to guide interdisciplinary work that improves gamified learning across diverse settings. Next, we briefly cover methodology. We followed a Prisma-guided search across major academic databases, focusing on empirical studies at the intersection of learning analytics and gamified environments. The protocol prioritized peer-reviewed work and excluded reviews to ensure we synthesized original empirical evidence with rigor and reproducibility. Let's map 7 research dimensions that guided our analysis, grouped under integration and impact, personalization and context, and tools and evaluation. These dimensions helped us examine how gamification and analytics combine, how adaptive models operate in real contexts, and which evaluation methods best capture learning effects and platform performance. Selection followed a multi-step Prisma process that reduced an initial large record set down to studies meeting strict inclusion criteria. After deduplication, we screened titles and abstracts, conducted full-text eligibility checks, and included studies that provided empirical findings on learning analytics in gamified settings, ensuring the final evidence base was focused and robust. Looking at publication trends from 2016 to 2024, research shows steady growth with thematic shifts toward adaptive gamification and integrated analytics. Early work emphasized assessment and basic data analysis, while recent studies focus on contextual applications and personalization, suggesting the field is moving from proof of concept toward more sophisticated, learner-centered solutions. Here we highlight the synergy between gamification and analytics. Analytics enable data-driven personalization and real-time feedback, while game elements boost motivation and engagement. Examples include behavioral analytics paired with point systems and gamified dashboards that deliver adaptive interventions, creating interactive experiences tailored to learner needs and progress. We introduce an integration taxonomy that surfaces common approaches across contexts. For engagement and motivation, MOOCs in higher education often use dashboards, points, and leaderboards. For academic performance, targeted data analysis supports interventions, and for personalized learning, adaptive gamification models aim to match content and challenge to individual learners. On the left, we summarize evidence showing point systems and gamified peer interactions can lift performance and feedback quality, while the image on the right reminds us of classroom complexity and the need for design sensitivity. Importantly, effects depend on learner preferences and context, so competition and social features must be tuned carefully to avoid demotivation. Here we summarize key findings about impact on learning outcomes. Short-term gains in engagement and targeted performance are common. Performance improvements vary by discipline, retention evidence is limited, and context-specific outcomes depend on design and implementation. Overall, gamification offers clear short-term benefits, but needs research targeting sustained, transferable effects. Adaptive gamification promises personalized learning paths by dynamically adjusting rewards and challenges using AI and analytics, but it also raises privacy and identity concerns. This slide stresses the need to balance innovation with governance, making sure data practices and consent mechanisms are robust while designing adaptive elements that support engagement and learning. We map adaptive methods and their core challenges, from AI-driven personalization that delivers real-time modeling to rule-based systems and behavioral analytics. Key issues include data privacy, scalability, contextual fit, and complexity of hybrid approaches. The research agenda calls for scalable, ethically sound frameworks and empirical studies that test privacy-preserving personalization strategies. Different learning contexts show distinct gamification impacts. In online learning, gamified LMS features with real-time analytics boost engagement via badges and dashboards. In higher education, structured curricula use leaderboards and badges to motivate participation. The slide underscores that learning analytics must be tailored to pedagogical and temporal needs across contexts for meaningful results. We compare contexts and identify gaps. Online settings favor real-time adaptive analytics with instant feedback. Universities leverage aggregated course analytics and cohort incentives, while other sectors show inconsistent evidence. The main research gap is a lack of studies in K-12, vocational, and corporate contexts, calling for broader, comparative work across demographics and environments. Here we outline platform capabilities. Gamified LMS provide dynamic badges and real-time adaptations. Collaboration platforms emphasize social dashboards and group challenges. Course-specific tools embed motivational design, and analytics enable personalized engagement tracking. The challenge across platforms is scaling while preserving privacy and maintaining ethical data management. Platform taxonomy deepens that point, classifying LMS with adaptive gamification, collaboration platforms with dashboards, course-embedded gamification, and cross-platform hybrids. Each type has unique features and evidence gaps, with scaling and ethical safeguards repeatedly highlighted as priorities for future longitudinal evaluation and comparative effectiveness research. Evaluating gamification benefits requires multiple analytical methods. Combine correlation analysis to link gamified points with success, use data mining to identify engagement clusters, conduct comparative studies contrasting gamified and traditional environments, and adopt diverse approaches to capture both behavioral and learning outcomes for a more complete picture. Let's categorize data analysis methods and highlight research gaps. Correlation analysis informs performance insights, data mining reveals behavioral segments, comparative analysis tests design impacts, and holistic assessments address platform-level outcomes. Notably, longitudinal studies are sparse and ethical discussion on data use needs strengthening to support long-term evaluations. Gamification can boost engagement, but it's not universal. Quests, badges, and points often increase motivation, especially online, but effects vary by discipline, student profile, and design congruence. The recommendation is to use adaptable, targeted gamification aligned with course goals and learner needs, rather than one-size-fits-all approaches that risk mixed or fleeting effects. Here we map engagement elements to measurement methods. Quests support task completion and use surveys for evaluation. Badges signal achievement and rely on data mining and surveys. Points provide immediate feedback analyzed through correlations, and leaderboards emphasize competition. Research shows rewards drive participation, but long-term intrinsic motivation needs deeper study and sustained interventions. Here we synthesize the synergy between learning analytics and gamification, combine analytics with theory-driven gamified design to achieve short-term engagement and long-term retention. Short-term lifts come from extrinsic incentives, while sustained motivation depends on intrinsic drivers. So designers should balance autonomy, competence, and relatedness with external rewards for lasting impact. Practical guidance emphasizes instituting real-time analytics dashboards, balancing game components to learner preferences, adapting difficulty for optimal flow, investing in educator training for design and data use, and establishing institutional data privacy policies. These measures help practitioners implement gamified systems responsibly while noting limitations and generalizability across contexts. Future research should adopt longitudinal designs, expand samples across educational levels and disciplines, address ethical issues like consent and data transparency, integrate emerging measures such as AR/VR and physiological analytics, and develop common toolkits and metrics to improve comparability and practical application across studies. The conclusion highlights that learning analytics enable tailored feedback and adaptive pathways, effective gamification balances, extrinsic and intrinsic motivators. Outcomes depend heavily on context and learner attributes, and the insights from this review inform both theory and practical implementation to advance gamified education. To close, we outline next steps for ethical, impactful, gamified learning. Investigate long-term effects across contexts, conduct comparative analyses of gamification approaches and analytics, advance empirical inquiry that translates analytics into practice, and develop robust ethical frameworks to guide learner data interventions and protect participant rights.